Okay, so welcome back once again. We'll start. I hope you've taken the dinner. Yes. So the topics are related for the life cycle of the bean. So currently we have study. I've taken a Spring overview, right? This one. So always remember this architecture diagram of the Spring. So the core part. This one is the core part where we have the beans and the core. Context, we are already using application context. Expressions language during the MVC implementations that will be easier for us to explain that type because we will not write any Java code as such directly accessing any values. So the expressions language EL will get those values. So in the MVC that can be covered because here there is no that much of options to give you that example. So this core container is basically the things which we are doing it. Then after that, EOP aspects and instrumentations. It looks it is not in the curriculum currently. So if time permits, we'll discuss that. So next day we'll go with the ORM. Okay, and then after that, servlet MVC. So this is a Spring container. There's some modules and sub-modules, and it's integrated in this way. So you have to remember these aspects, and the JUnit like testing purpose, we will do that. So beans, core, context, expression language. Currently we are into this container, core container. Then we'll move toward the data access integration. That is in ORM. So here the Hibernate things will come. Okay, and then servlet and web MVC, which is Spring MVC using the Spring Boot. Okay, so that is the actual process of doing those coding. Okay, so I think this architectures I have already shared to you. If not, I will share this as well. Okay, now the beans have a life cycle. Beans has a scope. So these two things at least be known to you. It's something about the beans itself. So let's take the same example, or otherwise we'll create quickly one new class for the singleton and the prototype design. So we can see like here the Spring bean. Scope. So it's an important topic, scope of the bean. So first one is singleton. Then we have second one is prototype. Then third one is request. Fourth one is session. So these are the major scope of the bean. Request and sessions are part of HTTP request. So not part of the core. So this we can discuss singleton and prototype in current scenario. Okay, so what is singleton? So it's actually going to have single instance per Spring container. It's a interview question. its default scope. In interview, it's mandatory questions it will come. What is the default scope of the bean? So singleton, remember that. Okay. And it return the same instance, like it gives into cache memory, and return the same instance whenever we request for that particular bin is made. So theoretically, it's not feasible. We will not identify those things. I'm just will come to the theory first through the examples, explain then how this one instance can be retained by multiple instances. So cache memory things will show you just writing the concepts at least once. Like its scope is different. So scope new bin instance it will create. Its scope is to create new bin instance each time now. The request is made. So single instance, it is there, it will be shared with other instances because one cache memory because of it, but here it will not like that. So this concept and request is HTTP request, session is HTTP session. Session things are something which when user logs into the system, then HTTP is a stateless protocol, and when you log in request you send through Facebook or Gmail, once the response is given to you, home page and all, then the request is no longer continued. It's a stateless request and response cycle. So we manage with internally with session object. Later on in the microservice level through the JWT token based, so that the server understands that this user is alive. Otherwise, for every request, because once we log into the system, we do a series of activities, file uploading, chatting, and something. Every time we need to log in again if the sessions are not there. So through the sessions, we continued with these things. So to the next page. So most of the website you will see your name is appearing on the top of that left side and all. So actually it's through the get, set and get. Set property, get property. So that things are internally. So session things will cover in the HTTP level. And similarly the request response things means in HTTP is there. We send the request and the response comes to the user. So that kind of things. But singleton prototype certainly we can show with the core part of it. Okay, so singleton pattern and for this one will create one or two more classes. So in normal way, like not in the component annotation. So the XML again will show you. Otherwise, in the same I will modify. But quickly we'll write one example here. Take this new class package itself. So bean scope we are writing now. Okay. So it's com dot simply learn dot scope, and we have taken the customer and address last time, right? So same thing we can use here also. First create one address class and then customer class. Okay. Both examples I will share to you after this discussion. So let's create one quickly address class. It's this one. So singleton and prototype will give you the demo for it. Okay. So this is a class. I'm doing without annotations through XML only. So private string straight or address one or something, anything you can take. Just taking this straight private string city private int pin code. Okay, so this taken and get a setter for it. Generate this one. This class is over. Now we'll take one more in the chat. Okay. Okay, my voice is low. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. So let me now so what I was telling you, like I'm going to have the singleton and the prototype, two major important scope of the beans, because we have done with the bean things, right? Bean objects we have created. Now those bean we have to show you the singleton and the prototype. In case of request and session, it's not feasible here right now because we will do the HTTP things. Then it is possible to show you. But currently in the core part, only two things of the scope, that is the singleton and prototype. Okay. So I'm just going with two class similar to that, address, and one more class like customer, right? So take this one, new class customer, and this one just take the variables again, private int customer ID, private string customer name, right? So custom name and private address. So this already you know about that, right? Create the getter status for it. Source, generate getter status. All the three done. Okay. Now the XML file which will write for these things, because I'm not doing with the annotations at this moment. We will take one XML file for this. Okay, where we will use the singleton and the prototype. So just quickly add one XML file in the source resource folder. Already one is there now, so I will add a different name. So XML file and give the name bean scope dot XML. Copy this heading so that it will be easy. Creating the ID bean ID equals to address obj, right? add address obj. That's the naming conventions I'm following. You can write anything, but it's good to follow the conventions. And what is the class here? Class we have com dot simply learn dot scope address. And one additional thing here we are going to add is the scope equals to, for example, singleton. Okay, so this is my scope. This attributes I have taken here. Close this bean or closing purpose. You can use this slash. It is also equivalent of it, or this is okay. So I've already done, right? So this bean is over. Now we'll take one more bean, singleton. That's one more. So copy this one, and this is for customer class. So this cust OBJ. Okay, and what is this class name is customer. The scope is same, but here we have to inject that value also, reference, otherwise it will not connect. So control space, it's property, okay, right? Property name, address, and reference, sorry, reference equals to addr obj. That's one. Okay, so this is what this is wiring of the bean happened over here. The reference is done. Correct. So singleton is this one. So we have taken the two class, address and the customer. Okay, so they're getter setters. And one additional things in this here is scope. Okay, so every bean has a scope. Default scope is this one, singleton. And why I'm showing this one, because in interview it's mandatory question. They will ask the life cycle and the scope of the bean. These things, life cycle is just init and destroy, because internally it has several life cycle, but init and destroy primarily it will ask, and these things. So scope is one of the important topics. So I'm trying to give you the brief idea about the scope things. Okay. Now driver class IOC, we have to connect with that. So take one class and any name. But I'm just prefer to give the driver. It has the main method. Finish this one, and we will read that things first of all. So we can use the configurable and also the application context. So it's, the factory pattern, design pattern, please study it. That's what I will suggest you, because they have interface, abstract classes and subclasses. So they are all interlinked. Okay, so I'm just copying it, configurable in the previous example. Okay, let it right. Configurable application context CTX equals to new class path XML. This time I will take it class. Okay, not annotation one, class path XML, and in this bean scope dot XML. Now here you will see the instance per container and all those options which I have just discussed. Now that theory you can understand over here itself. Okay, so customer CUST OBJ 1, I am creating first customer here, equals to CTX dot get bin, and in this we have this bin in this bin scope. So get bin, this one driver, right? So this I will get this one customer ST. Okay, and then add the address of it. So this CST OBJ1 dot get address. Okay, so address, and in Java we can write in this way also, address city and all in one line. So address dot set city, setting the value of city, then it will get it. Then finally I will SOP. Okay, so I am giving this value like suppose for example Hyderabad. Okay, so this city name I have added, and then I will get this city. So SOP system.out.println, just write something, first customer city. So here we will get it this value. Okay, so CUSTOBJ, okay, 1 dot get address. So city I am trying to get, dot get address dot get city. So added the city. So first customer belongs to city. So we will get that thing. Now we'll create the second customer object also. Okay, second customer. So this is one customer value and it is a singleton. Please remember that thing. OBJ2 so write this second customer object, and again I will try to access the same thing. I am not setting, just observe here important thing. However, I am not putting it again here. Okay, make it 2. Correct. So now the definition wise, it keeps in the cache memory, singleton. Okay, so you can try to understand the difference, so you can explain the concepts when asked in the interview. So this here I have set, get the address, set the value like Hyderabad, and then first customer belongs to this city, then second customer. Okay, so this second customer I have not set the city, right? And then CTX is there, so we can close. That's optional, but it's better that whatever resource you are using, please close it. Otherwise, JVM will close it. So garbage collection. Now this is their singleton pattern. Okay, so now see the output here. Okay, get address, get city, some problem. Change to get change. Okay, not saved. Nah, that's okay. Asterisk symbol, if you see it, that means it is not saved. So it will showing some error that time. So please check that if your syntax is correct, then there is something which is you have to save it. So now this is a bin scope, and the bin scope which I am calling here, it's a singleton scope is there. What is that meaning here? Now call this one driver class. Everything is okay, no? That's a CST OBJ. That is properly written, right? CST OBJ customer. Then it's called the address OBJ. Okay, and then we are getting with the city detail. Okay, so this let's run this first. Run as Java application. Now here you can observe Hyderabad, Hyderabad. Some spacing things I have not done, so please do it. Okay. So here this set city Hyderabad is done, which I am getting it, but here it's not done, right? So what it means, again, I am just coming to the theory concept, so you will understand. This bin definition singleton, it remains instance per string container. Means, and this means that it is into cache memory and return the same instance each time the request for a particular bin is made. So here singleton, each time it return the same instance. So we have this set Hyderabad, it is in the cache memory, and the second time I have not set the address. In spite of that, it is giving me Hyderabad. So it is returning the same instance. So it is per container only one. So it is a default scope. It keeps into the cache memory and return the same instance each time. So when we are having this set city Hyderabad, here I am just getting this UST OBJ. When I try to print these things, it's still giving me Hyderabad. Okay, that is the role of singleton. And the same thing, the second one is prototype. Prototype. Okay, so this prototype now, if you use it, second customer, this one. So how it will get that? Okay, so it's a yes, but you can't print second customer before customer one. This you want me to print before one, right? Customer, this thing. Okay. Yes, I have not changed the city. This is what you want. Now, tell me one thing. Here, customer OBJ, I have set the city or not. So it's for your requirement basis, I run this one. Right? So you want this thing. So now I have nothing added here, so how it will take into this? Because Java configuration reads from line by line. Okay. So this is you have seen, this is nothing here. It's a null value. So there is no customer set in. Here this customer is set in. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Of course. Yeah, cache memory. And no cache value. Yes, yes. There is null value, so there is no cache. That's what. So because here I am not setting any value, it's no value. So whatever the first value it's getting, it's printing as usual. Okay, but the idea is to first set the value so it goes to the cache value. Okay, now it's okay, right? So yes, yes, that's good. You can change it, but actually I first try to make the things to understand. Like the singleton basically do what? It store the value. Next time when you will not doing it, it will do it. So that's what the singleton rule. But the prototype is quite different. Prototype is it doesn't know the second instance at all. Okay. In this case, suppose I'm just going to make the bean scope prototype. Prototype. So it is not cache memory anything. It's for independent one. So the scope of single bean definitions to have new bean instance. Each time the request of a particular bean is made. So it's like a new instance each time, right? Which one? Cache as Hyderabad. Where is the cache as Hyderabad? First time there is no cache. Null is not there, na? It is not storing anything. Null. So second time I am setting the value, then it displaying the Hyderabad. As usual, like Java object. Okay. So first time it was null value. Yes, yes, I have swapped. Yes, yes. Default always null. That's correct. First time when I have done it, so there was null value. It is storing nothing. What it can do? So there was nothing, na? That's why. So second time I am explicitly assigning Hyderabad, so it's printing that. Okay, so interchanging that thing means customer 1 to 2 it will happen. I am going for 2 to 1. So there is nothing in 2, then 1, whatever it is going to print. But the idea is to show you that whatever I am saving in the 1, automatically the 2 will also take it through the cache. Okay, that is a tricky thing which I have done for the reverse order. So obviously that was not the way I wanted to show you. The way is like first customer, as I said the city, it is valid for the all the instances. Customer 2, 3, 4 without uh, having again storing it. So the header is like yes, 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 yes. If we reset value, then only yes, obviously yes, Sunit, that's correct. If you don't get any values, then it will store what? Java object, you are passing the null value only. But this is something which I am set city Hyderabad. If I do not set any value in this case, then what will happen? I will print this get city. What it will get? It will get null. Okay. So singleton first object 1, then object 2. Why will do the reverse order? It's just one of the associate was asking to check. That's why I have done this. Okay. So according to the definition, first whatever you set the value, it will be available to other also without having doing it. But when you are having null value, then how it will reach to others? So it's having nothing stored. So whatever explicitly setting that is taking. But this sequence like 1 and 2, now prototype case, this will not return the same thing here. So this scope is different here, prototype, and obviously it will not store in the cache value anything. So you can look at this one, driver class. So we have this Hyderabad customer obj2. So here new bin instance each time. So it is a new bin instance is created. Every time customer obj, it will not take from this previous instance. So just running this one, you can see Hyderabad as I have set it. Now automatically, if I explicitly write here Hyderabad, then it will take. Otherwise, it's taking null value. Okay. So I hope you identify these things. The difference between the singleton, that singleton means it keeps into cache memory and return the same instance. So that value which we have get address. So we are getting that address only for the second object also without specifying it. But a prototype means that the value which is given for one instance is not valid for other. Here, if you declare obj2 dot get address something, then it will take. Otherwise, by default, it will not take. Okay. Is it understood? No. Yes, that is also a good question. Where we will use the scope. See, this is for learning purpose. We will not use the scope. It's alternative. It's like something which they will ask you. We will use ID and class name, and moreover, we will doing with the annotations. Okay. This type of questions for the interview point of view. It's not you have to do it. You will do without this XML file. Directly auto wiring with that and calling that with one configuration. It's like a learning purpose because see the programming perspective you will not doing it. This is optional one. Like in most of the time, yes. They will ask in the interview what is the scope, what does that mean by singleton. So that time you have to reply that it retains the memory, the same instance it returns for other also. And once you set the value, it is applicable for others. But in the prototype, each time a new instance, bin instance is created. So it will return like that. That is what in the fresher level it is expected. Okay, coding wise, professionally, we will not do even talk about this core part. Desktop application, who will take nowadays? Tell me. You have to go with the Spring MEC. Okay, so core part is something to start with the Spring. But project level, core part is having not required, be required MVC architecture, model view, where auto wiring features is most important one for the dependency injections. So Spring Core is for the desktop. Here console applications, it's not nowadays taken as a console of applications. We need the MVC architecture. But learning starts from the like core Java, then advanced Java. Similarly, core Spring, then advanced Spring. That is MVC. That is Spring MVC boot. And also the boot things, REST actually better choice. Yes. So these things now final last thing which I will try to complete. That is the life cycle of the bean. So bean has several internal life cycles, but primarily the init and destroy we can actually show you through this XML file. Okay, so that is possible, but other things like apart from bean scope, you have seen ID, class, and the scope also. We can have additional attribute that is init and destroy. Okay, so that we can do with that. So take quickly with one example with the bean life cycle. Okay, so I'm just closing it all and take the life cycle. I will share the code to you. Please try to study it. and starting things. And next time when we'll meet, we'll start the next ORM techniques. Okay. So first package here com dot simply learn dot bean life cycle. Okay, so life cycle is also sometime in the interview ask those things. So what is life cycle, and so how we can show that. So that's a few smaller things we will do it. Okay, to get the bean life cycle, and then we have to show with what is called the init and destroy methods. Okay, so init and destroy we will write in the Pojo class, so that it will do the SOP and all, print and all. So just taking one variable, not much. Okay, so new class and country, for example, and I'm taking only one variable. Okay, string country name. That's it. Or take one or two variables if you want. You can take it, but it's enough. Getter setters, source, generate getter setters. Click it, it will create it. Here we will write init and destroy, so that it will print on the console. When init thing happen, it will print that init is happened. When destroy, then destroy things. For that, we will take two different methods: public void init. Okay, so this init SOP init block. Okay, that's enough. Then public void destroy. Okay, SOP so destroy block. So this will give me the idea like this destroy block or init block. So we can check with that when it is having this block. Okay. So again, we have to write one XML file for this. But this country I am taking not much more than that. Okay, because I just want to have only one thing. Otherwise, you can create one more class and add these things. But for the quickly showing these things, just we want to complete this example. Okay, so take one resource folder. Okay, so new we have XML file. Next, lifecycle dot XML. Okay, let's copy the header at least. Okay, so lifecycle header. Use the beans, and in this case, we will use two more attributes: ID class and the init method and the destroy method. Okay, so take this one. Bean here ID class and init and destroy will write over here. Okay, so ID equals to just write country, that is the object country, and the class equals to what is that, form dot simply learn dot life cycle, right? Simply learn dot bean life cycle. That's a big name I have written unnecessarily. Bean life cycle dot country. And after this, next step is this country class equals to, okay, here additional thing is init hyphen method equals to init. So this is the syntax that init will be called for this. So here ID, class, scope, and this is additional attribute where I am specifying that init method to invoke after setting beans property. So init will be called after setting the bean property, and then the destroy method hyphen method destroy hyphen method equals to destroy. Okay. That's it. So this destroy method and init we have called it. So this is two additional things: init method and destroy method. And corresponding to that, whenever the bean will instantiate and all those driver class things, then it will, yeah, bean XML. Bean XML. This is bean XML, no? Okay, this one. Okay, bean XML is this one. Actually, I have already opened this one. This is XML file only. Okay. Additional things: init method, init destroy method, and inside that setter value, any value at least set, na, India, country India. So property not coming. Yes. Property name. We have, what is the property we have taken? Country name, right? So life cycle country, this one equals to sorry, value, inject the value equals to India. Yes. So here init method, it will call the init part of the life cycle, and the destroy will call the destroy. So two additional attributes you have to write in this way. Now again the same question, like where you will show it. You will not have to show this thing. It is managed by the container itself. Explicitly I have written it to give the demo of it. Okay, it is not init and destroy. It has pre-processing, post-processing. There are several life cycle methods, but out of that init and destroy we can show it explicitly also. All others are container managed, which is abstract to us. But starting and destroy we can at least display also those things, because when we set the value, it is initializing. When the value is initialized, then we call the shutdown hook and it will close it. Okay, so that's a bean file actually. And the final class, obviously we have to write the driver class, right? So that displaying the destroy and init method, we have to write that thing. So again, IOC things are left. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay. So till here the same thing, only one additional things have been done from the previous example, that here we have added in this life cycle. This is country.java. This is one attribute, and then for displaying the init and destroy, we have done the SOPs. Okay, and in the lifecycle.xml, calling that country and init method and destroy, these two things added additionally. Rest are like same thing. Now you need one class for running this name class. So add this over here in the lifecycle new class and give the name like driver class, main method, finish this one, and here we will use one more IOC that I have to check with this IOC because I need shutdown hook. So in application context, it's not available. Just 1 minute. IOC thing. Application context CTX equals to new class path XML, right? And here the XML file name is lifecycle dot XML. That's what these things done. Then the class name is country, right? Country obj. Oh, I'm just thinking and writing country 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 equals to ctx dot get bean. What is the bean name? Object name, ID country, right? So copy this one and here. Okay. So 1 minute. System.out.println will be required. Country dot status is not get status injection already given. So this gets it will get the value, and here I have to call the destroy method explicitly. For that, that is what I would like to check it will come or not. CT dot shutdown register shutdown. It's not coming. That's why I was worried about this. 1 minute. Application context, open definitions, environment. Because to show the shutdown, because destroy method all container managed, but explicitly if I want to show, I have to call that destroy method. Shutdown hook actually we call it. So shutdown. Okay. Now 1 minute. Abstract. Abstract application context taking or not. So instead of, let's see first of all, it dot register. So in application context, that method is not means there. So why this register shutdown hook? So register shutdown hook is used. It's going to decreases, not going. Extends default resource, implements configurable application context, and then it extends the application context. So this has this method, so many methods, long class. So we need that method. Is not in this register shutdown. So application context we have used abstract application context. This we can see this register a shutdown hook named string context. Okay, so this will call the destroyer. So first, when we are setting the value of the country, then setting those value, we are able to call the init method. After that, init is over, then shutdown hook will destroy the bin. These things are not required in the programming level every day to day. Okay, again I must clarify these things. This is only for the learning purpose, understanding purpose. We will not call this lifecycle. Things are managed by the IOC container itself. Instantiations, wiring of the bin, configurations, details, all those they are doing itself. That is abstract for us, but explicitly if you want to show that, then you need these things. Getting my point? So that's why I'm showing this. Not in every program you will do like that. So that's the example. Now let's run this one. Yes, of course, in the country we have this init. Once it will print that value, India, and then it will say that destroy block. Okay. So driver things, save this one, run a Java application. Init block, it after initialization, setting the value, then destroy block is called with this. Okay. So that is the purpose for the life cycle of the bean. If you see this life cycle, they have long life cycles. Not this only init and destroy. In init and destroy, there are pre and post processing methods are there. Those pre and post processing methods it passes through internally by the container. But it is possible to give you a demo for init and destroy. So specifically in the Pojo class, in this class we have country.java. Specifically use this one init. This is my init method. This is my own method destroy method. So I printed this SOP thing. Okay, so init block and all. So you know that bin is instantiated. Then the initializations happen. Then it sets the value. After setting the value, its job is over. Then it will destroy it, right? So the destroy block will be called. It will not automatically call. You have to shutdown hook. You have to call. And shutdown hook, register shutdown hook is not available in the application context. The abstract class it is available. So these things sometimes not able to remember, but you can check with that because it's once in a while you have to do this type of examples to get these things done. Most of the time we'll use the application context or annotations application context for the annotation based. So not all the times this thing. So here abstract application to get this register shutdown. This once it is destroyed, so it will call the destroy block. Okay, and these things are getting means finally getting destroyed. Okay, so this total things are actually part of this life cycle init and destroy, and one small changes here you have to maintain init hyphen method init. This is standard syntax. You have to write like this. So this is for initializations. This is for destroy. So when init will happen through the IOC, this initializations method will be called internally. Then after initialization, they will set the value as it's saying it is in the init block, and then it sets the value. Because what will happen in IOC, you know that this IOC rules is what that first it read the file, then it instantiate the things, and after that wiring of the bin happens. So when it is instantiated, when wiring is happened, several life cycle process already going on that. But init is the first one. So once it is done the init things, then the next step is to get the output. So it's saying init block is called in after the instantiation. So initialization is over. Configuration things, it set the value India after wiring the bin. Then once it gets the India, then it's over. So definitely it will look into the next destroy method. That is the block which we have here, destroy block. So destroy block is called after the value is set in. There is nothing to do it. So for that destroy block will be called. For this purpose, I use these things here, shutdown hook. So this is not opening right now. It's a shutdown hook. Yeah, now it's opening. So it's a shutdown hook. It's in the abstract application context class. Hook, it's saying with the JVM runtime closing this context of JVM shutdown, unless it already been closed at that time. So it's closed the shutdown, and these are the logic written for it, synchronized and all. So register shutdown hook, it is in the abstract application context class, and that will call the destroy method. All are interlinked. We have init, then init is called. Once it sets the value India, then the destroy is called through the shutdown hook and destroying it. So this for the purposefully it is done. Otherwise, generally we will not use this one. Okay, it will automatically taken care by the container. Container managed things are there. We don't have to do it our own. Okay. So understood the concept, life cycle. Is it okay? Yes, yes. So life cycle is simple. Just tell them that init and destroy. There are so many preprocessors, and I will share the docs to you also. But init and destroy, we can show these things directly. At least by calling those class init and method to SOPs and all. Once the value is set, then it is going for the, because bin's job is over. So once its job is over, then obviously it's going to destroy. So that shutdown hook will destroy it. Okay, simple one. It's don't think very complicated kind of thing. But these two questions will definitely come in interview study. Someone was asking me. So the important questions are DI, IOC, and bin life cycle, and then the scope. These four definitely going to ask. Okay, and the annotations, auto wiring, that is very important. And few annotations they can ask at the rate component, at the rate configurations, at the rate component scan, so at the rate bin. So you can explain with the concepts, with the example which I have done, you practice it, and through that example, if you tell this analysis, it is over, it's okay. You don't have to explain very much technically all things you read in Google and search it and say it's not required. With your coding level, if you explain it, the interview process, they will understand that this person actually has implemented it. So once it is implemented, so you will get this advantage. Okay, but I've seen like theory and all those wrapping up the data into a single unit is encapsulation. Now the interviewer will ask what is wrapping up, what is single unit, then it is got. Okay, so I will never advise to search for this kind of definition. You create your own definitions by the coding standards. It will reflect that you have done these things. Maybe you are not explaining that much technically all those words and all, but you are explaining through your experience of doing the things. It is more advantage to clear the things, interview process and all. Okay, that is why if you have seen like this init and destroy, so they can ask what is this register shutdown hook is doing. Name is itself self-explanatory. Java 90% things are self-explanatory. They have given big names. Why they have given? Only purpose is to make any one to identify what is going to happen with this class. Okay, means what is the purpose of this? So this method register shutdown hook is calling the destroy method, which we have given in the XML file. It will go with the destroy hyphen method destroy. And when it is calling the destroy method, obviously it will go to that class which we have, country class, and print the destroy block is called in. Okay, before that init happened, so its life cycle I explicitly mentioned init. So it will check with the init options and it will print I am in init block. After init block, the configurations happens and then the output is given. Country equals to India. And then next block is that destroy block. Okay, so think in a simple terms, this life cycle hooks are there and init to destroy, they are in between pre and post processing things are there. Okay, but these majorly things we can discuss. But in the program, please don't do it in the programming level, all these things. It's just for configurations. Yes, yes. I have not called the destroy method no, explicitly. You can call it. Yes, yes. Siva, right? Destroy method. Obviously, all the life cycle you need to destroy are happened automatically by the container. That is the role of IOC container. Life cycle management. Maybe I told you study itself. That what is the role of IOC container? This interview question is mandatory. They will ask. IOC container role is to instantiate the bean, wire the bean, configure it, and manage the life cycle. So when manage the life cycle means it instantiate, it gives you the output, and then it is destroyed method is called. So these things happen internally. We don't have to go with that. That is the advantage of the Spring framework. You have not required to write the specific code for it. It will do by the container management system. If you have done the servlet, you are saying that the life cycle of servlet and all, life cycle of the JSP. So everywhere we have starting things, init things, and finally destroy. So the container is managing those things. Okay. Yes, Siva. Understood. Singleton prototype destroy method is called finally. Whether you write it or not write it. After the output is given, then it's over. Okay. Yes. How we are getting value. Because I have not called explicitly that time. Still the bean is there, it's not cleaned actually. After second object is created, there is nothing. How we are getting the value in previous figure, we got the header. Yes, obviously, because when there is still it is configurable, it is data is there, then it will do. In Java, it's like garbage collection happens or not. So it is happen immediately. It will not happen immediately. It is in the process. It happens. So JVM manage these things or not? Similarly, here the container will see that there is nothing to print or nothing in the cache memory. It will call for the destroy method. Explicitly, I am calling it, then it is calling. But internally, after printing those values 2 times Hyderabad, it is Singleton is making those things to be next associated with the next one. Okay, because cache memory is there. Obviously, from the cache it is calling, and next time it is printing. But finally, the bean life cycle is managed, is over. There is nothing to print, so it's over now, na, right? After that, you will not get anything. Customer 2 was there, na, Siva. Customer 2 is getting that value because still that thread is live. So it is transferring the object value. But after having done this thing, there is nothing to print. Then it will be looked by the container itself that there is nothing to there. Then it will subject to the destroy method. Okay. So what do you think? Destroy is not getting called. You use this register shutdown. Who can check it with some messaging in that singleton? It will give you the output also if you want to see it. Okay, try that. Without life cycle, how things will work? Tell me. Obviously, bean is destroyed after having done the job. Because life cycle, without life cycle, how the beans will work? Tell me. So init will happen, destroy will happen, and pre and post initialization and pre-destruction phase, post-destruction phase, pre-initialization phase, post-initialization phase. It's not only 2 methods. There are 10, 12 methods are there. Okay, those things are managed internally. So bean will be destroying it. Obviously, after its job is over. So life cycle is maintained, but that is a cache memory. So singleton is maintaining that cache memory. But you have seen in case of prototype, it's not. I mean, single instance is over, then it's over. For new instance, it's new instance, right? Okay. So is it okay, guys? You understood the concepts? Yes, yes. You are correct in that sense. I am also telling the same thing. Like without life cycle, nothing will happen. It's a life cycle is maintained at any cost. Life cycle is all the time. Life cycle is running. But if you want to show it explicitly, you have to call this kind of all this process, and it's for one time of example only. Okay, so that you get familiar, because yesterday someone was asking me like what is an interview question asking, and believe me, this interview question is going to come at any cost. Init destroy and this default scope. Okay, they will not ask you to write the code or anything. Just check that okay you have done it or not at least once even. Because program wise we will do with auto wiring, that is enough for us. We will not go with the XML way, but XML is used to display those things. Otherwise, these are fully abstract annotations. So you have seen just at the rate you write it and it connects. It's a full abstract. Only things we can learn is through the XML, because there we have to write those things. But annotations, there is no scope of doing it. It will be internally containing, and those things are managed by the environment itself. That's what the process actually. Okay, anyhow, I will share this code to you guys. And as for the diagram, next week, but my one concern is only that next 5 days, at least try to do this examples and all. And I have several other examples also, which are like core part. but because of the time constraint, it's like not feasible. But next day when we connect, I will show you few more examples with the core part in the initial half an hour, and then we'll quickly move towards the ORM with Hibernate. Okay, so preferred database MySQL. You have MySQL in your system? Okay, okay, then no problem. So I have all the options. If you have any other database, so you can see in my desktop there are 4 databases are there: Oracle, Postgres, and the Compass like MongoDB, and MySQL is there already. So I have 4 database immediately. Any database you can select, it's over. MongoDB is very popular nowadays, and its environment is very good. So I will check in your case it's there or not. So unstructured data things without, it's a no SQL database. Okay, so this Compass. Okay, yes, yes, MySQL. So I will take care of it, no problem. MySQL is also acquired by Oracle nowadays. Okay, so this connection. So we'll prefer that MongoDB, that is better, right? This one, MySQL. So MySQL, yes, I have MySQL. Yes, yes, I have. So MySQL, I will connect with the these things, Hibernate, where you don't have to create the SQL. SQL, you don't have to write it directly. We have the object mapping, dot save, dot update, dot delete. So that things we will able to do it with the MySQL database. So if you don't have, please download the workbench. Okay, so this coding will be doing it, but actually it is better like we will use Spring MVC with the Hibernate. But since it is given before that one, right? This one. What you have for, yes, password recovery is something like in their file configurations file. You can check with that retrieving. You have forgotten that, so you can. What is happened to you? Your password. Then you can have the commands. Basically, a few lines of command you have to write. Otherwise, it will not recover that user set user in. So there are few lines of commands through that you can get that. Okay, or you can do one thing in the command line, alter user, uh, like root is your username, right? So alter user identified by new password. So you can use alter user root at the rate localhost identified by new password. So try with that. Create a difference. What is that? Create different one. Okay, okay. Create different one with 330. No, 3306 port number is there, but all participants can. Yes, yes. I have to make like alter. This time trying alter user root. Root is there, na? Root at the rate localhost, because it's a localhost identified by single quotes password, new password. Okay, so try with that. So new password, whatever you do it, it will alter it. Okay, so through the command line, you have a command line window also. So you can try. Otherwise, we'll see that in the next day when we connect, definitely. But my only worry is like 5 days, you must do this core concepts and all those things regularly so that you don't forget it. Okay, because this is the basic standards and the MVC when we're doing it, these things will be somewhere you will see in some format. Not directly like the bean things we are doing. It's not like that, but part of it will be used in some of the Spring MVC and the boot and all. So these things you have to identify that time. Okay. So here I'm just today, but why it is showing wrong? Okay, was using same password. Same password, it is showing wrong. Maybe you have altered it sometime actually. So there is options to retrieve all the previous password and all through the command line. So to check with, so I will check with next day, okay? Because I think so that you have servlet concept. Yes, that is a good question you asked us. With servlet, you are having at least deep knowledge. At least you know any J2EE components. We are going in the Spring MVC, that is the third-party tool. Java component, at least we must know at least. But servlet concept, request response cycle is required. For not for this next concept, ORM is okay. We can have a Java class through the XML and through the annotations I will show you. Okay, these things, ORM things. But we will use the ORM and JPA things in the web MVC. And in the web MVC model view controller, at least one example of model view controller using servlet and JSP must be known to you. Because what is model view controller, how you will understand? You have to understand directly in this coding, in the Spring. But before that, one example with servlet and JSP with MySQL database, this model view controller architecture. Then the transitions will be more important, means easier for you to identify it. And if you directly going with the Spring MVC, I will explain the concepts, but it's very difficult. Not that much because servlet you are saying in Spring actually they have dispatcher servlet, which is inbuilt one. So obviously it will be very abstract to you. So what I will do is that I will take one example quickly. Yeah, you can revise it. So servlet and revision purpose. 1 minute. JSTL if you do it. 1 minute. Servlet, JSP, advanced JSP, that is JSTL, Java Standard Tag Library, and the expressions language, EL. At least these two is important. Basic JSP will not use. Why? Because the core Java we can write over here. So that is not required. So we will use the advanced JSP, that is Java Standard Tag Library. So at least if you see this thing, servlet, they are having inbuilt ESS. Extended session. I will check with the team actually what they are asking. So based on that, because to me personally, like when I take the sessions, I think like there should not be any gap in the connecting technology to next technology. Then the problem happens with that. So at least we have to spend some hours because whatever the timelines they have given, so I have to follow that guidelines that there is no other alternative. But frankly speaking, the transitions of technology gaps should not be there to connect other technology. So that you can understand the model view controller architecture with the basic program first. Then same thing will implement and show you what is the difference over here. Here we are not writing the controller, there we have to write it manually. Then you can identify, okay, that is the benefit we are getting. Okay, so those things you will never forget. You will remember those things for a long time to understand those things. But directly showing to a Spring MVC, then it will be some missing link. So at least one example from my end, I will do it. Okay, so maybe some extra hours will take, so we'll complete it. So next week, we'll start doing this ORM, then the MVC. Because we have a lot of curriculums, please believe me, we have to do it before this 2-3 weeks. Okay, so Spring REST and Spring microservice also will take time, and then the JUnit is also there. Mockito is also there. So every example will require time to do it. If I show you the code, you will not understand. Okay, because I can do these things in 1 hour. I have all the codes because of these things I can do. But writing those code, explaining things takes time. There is no alternative. If you are doing first time, if I show you the code already developed, you will not get it. So it's like the process is the same process I have to maintain, and in that I have to cover the topics. So those challenges will take care of it because uh, whatever this is asked to do it, so I have to do it. Okay, but obviously I will take care of some extra hours if possible in that session itself. Will take. Okay, so that these things can be balanced and managed. Okay, yes. Yeah, next Saturday ORM Hibernate. Yeah, Neha. So Hibernate basically session factory manager and MySQL database. Some little understanding of how to create database and tables etc. is still not required because it will create itself. But the Hibernate concepts will taking it. So please study that. Okay, so we have Hibernate, iBatis, Toplink. Hibernate is more popular. So please understand there is not only one single technology. A lot of vendors have different technologies are similar actually. But Hibernate is popular. So this Hibernate is a ORM technique which maps your object, Java object, persistence object with the RDBMS. With that entire row is mapped. So that we'll show you that things. Okay, so next week we'll do it. Currently I'm just going to close, but before that I upload these things. Okay, I'm uploading in the same drive. I just today evening also. Uh, Next week I will maintain that things. Okay, so you download from there itself. Entire project I am sharing to you. You uh, change the path, switch, copy this one. Just I'm changing this one. Okay, so here this one I am sharing it again. Just design pattern will add to archive G5 and same locations in the drive. Okay, please again, but you have to change the locations, otherwise the same thing will not be copied in one place. Okay, so in SL I have shared this thing. So please download from that new folder 12th June 2022. If you study side by side, somewhat servlet and JSP, it will be good. Okay. Uh, Before MVC starts, at least you have this understanding of it. So that's a better choice. But it depends upon you. If you have a study material and all, please go with that. Request response cycle, how it works. So at least some Java concept. Otherwise, I will take it. Don't worry. Okay, this I have shared in 12th June folder. What you should do is take a new switch workspace. So when you have this already working, right click on this file switch workspace, others, and SL1 directly. So it will create a folder and a new launch will happen. Okay. I have said that yesterday, maybe it's not the same. 1 minute. Just 1 second. Just give me 1 minute. Save this link. For today's purpose, next week I will give you proper one. Okay. Copy this link to the chat box. Please import this time. Okay. Later on. Next week. I will tell you, honestly, I have not one, multiple one, but I will tell you, don't worry. Okay. Yes. So for now, good night. Take care. Thank you so much. And we'll meet on the Saturday around 7 o'clock. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Good night to all of you. And please take care. Thank you. And I'm just going to log out. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay. Bye.